Trading stocks is 100% gambling. That's why when I see people online talking about, oh, this is how much you can make doing this, and this is how much, and you're doing all that, I'm like, do you show your losses? Do you explain to people the risk? If not, you're a charlatan, because you know, this is trading stocks is stupid. You don't trade stocks to make money. You do it because it's fun, it's a hobby, or you have a crippling gambling addiction. Day trading stocks is stupid. That's why you only do it with a small amount of your money. And when you do well doing it, you take the profits and you put it in your long-term shit, okay? Now, if anybody comes in and says investing in the stock market is gambling, that person is an idiot, because literally gambling means that you are betting against the house odds, right? You're betting against the odds. And the odds that the stock market goes up over a long period of time has been 100% for, 100 and something years. So actually shorting the market or staying on the sidelines and not investing in the market is actually the real gamble. Which is more DGen, VCIG or MLGO? VCIG 100%. I have never, ever, ever pretended like trading stocks is smart, is good, is a good idea. It is a profitable way. The problem is that people want to believe that there's a way to make a lot of money in a short period of time. And so they will pay people for the idea of that. And it is easy to lie to somebody who wants to be lied to. I trade live, not because I'm trying to prove anything to anybody. It's because I enjoy trading. I like putting pieces together and figuring things out and, whatever. And if I make some money, sometimes I get lucky and I do well and I put that shit away. Swing trading is where I make my real bread and butter from like trades, and long-term investing is where I put my money. That's just the way it should be. It should be boring. I don't know. I've made a lot in a short time with NNE. No, I'm not saying that you can't make money doing this. I'm saying that the moment you think you've got it figured out, you've already lost the game. Right? It is like, okay, cool. We're in a bull market. Everything is going. You just buy something. You better sell it for a profit if you want, move on. The problem is that people think that these cycles last forever because there's so many younger people. And the longer you're in this, the more you're not cautious, but the more you're aware that it could change on a dime. And the people who don't realize that are the people who lose everything. They're the ones who are like, you don't know what you're talking about. Man, if I was cautious like you, I wouldn't have 600% gains. I wouldn't be up $1 million this year. I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, cool, man, cool. Are you going to take those profits here? Because let me tell you something. Somebody who turns 10,000 into 100,000 or 100,000 into $1 million in a short period of time is not going to stop there. That's not, why would you? You've got it figured out, right? You've got it figured out. Why would you stop there? Why would you scale out there? Why would you slow down there? You're just getting started. Now, listen, I'll stop when I turn 1 million into 10 million. All right, bro. They get up to 2 million. See, I told you, boomer. We hit a bear cycle. They lose everything. Everything. Because all the people who tell you how to do it and where to go aren't the ones who tell you, okay, now's the time to sell, because they need you to keep paying them. They need it for their, or keep taking their courses, or keep, whatever. And so what happens is you just get this cycle of everybody just going, and no one has an exit strategy. Every single one of these cycles ends in disaster for a very large portion of people. It happened to me when I first started. I've watched it happen. I watched it happen in 2022. I watched the meme stocks and GameStop and that crowd make so much goddamn money. And in 2022, every single one of them got wiped the fuck out. And you know what the worst part of that is? That stopped them from ever investing again. And they've missed out on potential generational wealth because they just said, oh, this isn't for me. And I was like, it was never about trading. Trading with a small amount is great. If you lose it, who cares? If you make some money, all right, great. You put that aside in your long term, but they don't get that thing. You have to go through that ringer. You have to get beat the fuck up a few times before you start realizing when to play defense. Why is he angry today? Oh, I'm not angry at all. I'm talking from the heart. Hey, stock, I'm up 1,000% on one of my AMD stock options, another 5% of AMD options on which I have 5 contracts. Can you ask your wife if I should sell? Babe, AMD's up 35%, or was 35% today because of a deal with OpenAI, which is pretty far-fetched because basically they're taking money, NVIDIA's investing in them and paying AMD, and the shares that they get is if AMD gets to 600. You don't care about all that. He's up 1,000% on one call and 500% on the other after this morning. Should he sell or should he keep holding? Sell all of them or some of them? Leg out. See, she's smiling because she's literally just saying what I say. She said you should sell, and I said all of them or some, and she goes, no, leg out. Hold, motherfucker. If it were me, I would sell 2 of them right now, run with 3. If it goes up another, 100% from original basis by end of day, sell the 3rd one, keep 2. Yo, Stocky, very interesting time. We are simultaneously hitting highs and hedging with gold and FOMO with AI. It seems we have 2 competing forces, those who lived through the dot-com burst and those who think it's different this time. Someone's going to be right. Here's the thing. Are we in a bubble? Yes. Okay, absolutely. But the question is 2 things. How long until the bubble bursts? And when it does, how bad is it? And the one thing about bubbles is that there's always a bubble, but the people who scream loudest about bubbles are usually the people on the sidelines. And I know that sounds very like, oh, cavalier of me, but I'm just saying, like, we don't know how long a bubble could last. Listen, I told you guys 2 years ago, we are copying the roaring 20s to a T. First, it starts with elation, and then investor sentiment, and then retail investors, then international money, and then we start seeing people investing on debt, right? Back then, it was via refinancing houses and mortgages and business. Now it's on margin. We're at $9 trillion in margin debt right now. So it's almost a carbon copy of what happened. Obviously, it's a different world than it was back then. You can't one-to-one it, but that lasted almost 8 years. So by that logic, we still have a good 3 years. But the question is, here's the reason that I say people say, well, I want to take my money out and put it somewhere else in case there's a bubble crash. Where are you going to put it where you think it's not going to fall if we have an actual crash or actual major black swan correction? Real estate, Bitcoin, oil, cash? Like, what? Listen, you run it. Here's the thing. If the market fell 30%, we would consider that a massive drop, right? But if you're up 100% before you drop 30%, you're still doing okay. And to the people who wait until the drop happens, they're down 30% on their cash value. Then they jump in 30% when the 30% drop, but they still missed out on 70% return plus 30% in lost value on the cash. It is what it is. I honestly, here's my thing. I said it before. It's in my videos. I'll say it again. If you are worried about a crash, and you want to sell equities or sell stocks or whatever, where are you going to put it? My thing is that
survived Stocky's hair color bubble, hairline bubble, and aging bubble. Even survived the mod team bubble, still here, still standing.
I've said it before, I'll say it again, Bitcoin. Well, I mean, if you could give me a reason why Bitcoin wouldn't fall with it, then I would hear it. But it's like, it used to be a hedge against inflation. That didn't happen. It's following the same thing. Here's what I'll say. He's like what's his name? Grant Cardone with the real estate. The Bitcoin people are like Grant Cardone with the real estate. But here's what I'll say. If you are genuinely concerned about a bubble, drown out all the noise. Everyone is full of shit. Everyone thinks they know what's going to happen. We're all full of shit. But what is guaranteed is that you have debt. So if you want to sell your equities or your risky asset because you're worried about a bubble, to put it in cash, that's a bad idea, right? Because what are you going to do? The cash is dying and you're waiting for the market to drop and cash could die more. Just pay off your debt with it. Pay off your high interest, your long-term debt, use that. So that way, if the market does keep running, you still got some in, but it's not sitting in cash dying, and you've actually helped yourself. Because if the market does crash or we do hit a recession, you lose your job, you don't have to worry about losing your assets like your home and other things because you're underwater on it, you paid off your debt. I'm not encouraging you to sell equities in the market, right? Especially if you're under 50 years old, you should be hoping for a pullback so you could buy more. People are worried about a crash when it's like, fuck it, bring it on. Look what happened in April. We bought the shit out of that, right? Like bring it on. Future you's gonna love it, okay? But if you really are worried about this bubble bursting and you want to scale out of your stuff, do it. Keep some aside for the tax man and pay off your debt with the rest. That way, best case scenario, you paid off your debt and everything else keeps running. Worst case scenario, you have an asset that you own outright or you own less debt on that you're not underwater on that you can rely on in hard times. That's what I would say. What do you think is the best way to get hedge against inflation? It's so difficult to say that because what are we talking about? Inflation, short-term inflation, sustained inflation, dollar devaluation, international inflation. There's no real hedge against it. Right now, it's the market. The S&P 500 is up 14% this year. The dollar is down 14% this year. That's your best hedge right now. Now, you could say, well, this asset has up this much this year and that asset is up this much year. Yeah, sure. But they're all short term and we don't have enough long-term data to know that that's really a good. People are, I'll give you an example. I bought into gold at the end of 2021, whatever it was, when inflation was like at 9%, because I was like, okay, gold is a hedge against inflation. And guess what? It didn't go up. The stock market went down 20%. Crypto went down like 40, 50%. Gold didn't go up. And then it's like, oh shit. Now people are hopping into gold, not just because of inflation, but just because of uncertainty. Stocky, you told me a week ago that Lunar had nothing going for them. They're up 17% this week. Oh, you think because they're up this week that they have something going for them? Oh, that's cute. Oh, okay. I need you to understand something. Regardless of if Lunar ends up having something go for them, just because a stock is up does not mean that it has something going for them. Look at gold Bitcoin ratio, Stocky. Again, I'm not going to argue with people that are so unbelievably like tunnel visioned on Bitcoin that they can't see an outside scenario or a bear case or a possibility that one day somebody says this doesn't have a tangible value or this isn't something. You can't see that, so I can't have a discussion. People say, why don't you have more Bitcoin people on? I would, but the problem is every time I have a Bitcoin person on, they can't unsee that this is the only way forward. This is the only way to save our system. This is the only way to protect ourselves. There's nothing can go wrong with this. And so that's why I don't have those conversations. When I have people that are on crypto and say, well, this is why I think that this has a viability. And yeah, there's this case, and I agree with you that this case is this, but the reason that I think that people are, that's kind of a conversation. Otherwise, it's just somebody lecturing me, and it's like,